Your home is the most important asset you have. When you're ready to remodel, get yourself the quality you expect at a price you can afford. SDC Remodeling, Pittsburgh's basement finishing experts. Game rooms, theaters, wine cellars, offices, you name it. These guys are who you want to go to. You can check out sdcremodeling.com and you can see other photos from recent projects. They are fully licensed and insured and offer warranties on all completed work. And most importantly, they offer financing. Turn your vision into a reality and into the basement of your dreams. Call them at 412-835-1753 and tell them Justin LeBar sent you. I love the fine people at SDC. David and his crew. Hoping I see David and the SDC crew July 31st in Pittsburgh. Monday Night Raw. So I'm going to be doing a pre-party from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Cambria Suites right next to PPG Paints Arena from 5 to 7, presented by Old Smoky Moonshine, as well as Ticket King. Hoping David and SDC come down. That's going to be a good time. It's the place you got to be. Come talk wrestling with me and everybody else as we get ready for Monday Night Raw on July 31st. All right, let's wrap this baby up with a nice bow that is the SDC social media segment. Of course, I have you send me some tweets at Justin LeBar. Here we go. Travis Williams goes, thoughts on the lack of utilizing Baylor. Think they're waiting to reshuffle the deck, or is someone, Vince, not high on him? I think it's positioning. Yeah, I don't think there's any necessarily doubt about him. I think it's just positioning. Just trying to figure out where to put him. Again, sometimes situations like this, like with a guy like Finn Balor, where you feel like there's not a lot of steady momentum, or he should be doing more, should be doing bigger. Sometimes that's okay. If it's being done in the strategy and in the awareness of we're waiting for the right time to slap him on the ass and really get him going, that's okay. It's all about positioning. So I don't think there's any doubt on Finn Balor. I think it's just a matter of getting everything in the right place, right time. I am the little Tommy says I'm a longtime huge fan of the bar, and I've been begging for a follow forever. Support all the shows, can't get a follow, still love you. Well, all right, Tommy. All right, we'll hit follow. Don't make me regret it though. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the support. All right, Sean Bradley. Would Dalton Castle and the boys work in WWE, or is his gimmick better in an ROH or NXT setting? Of course, Dalton Castle. You can see Dalton on Ring of Honor. Dalton, a former IWC Wrestling champ. I had my go-arounds with him here in Pittsburgh IWC Wrestling. Dalton, very talented guy. Happy to see that he's succeeding. Happy to see that he's in demand. The way his gimmick is now, I just because how it comes off, I tend to think that it would work better in an NXT setting. It's not to say they couldn't be successful, on the Raw or SmackDown stage, but just I think Dalton. I think the setting. I think it would. But then, to be fair, most things go over better in the NXT or kind of setting when you have the smaller, intimate, repeat kind of crowd that's very invested. When you're on Raw and SmackDown, you're in front of 10 to 15,000 people. Some of them very casual. You're educating some of them for the first time. So, I definitely think Dalton Castle it'd be a benefit, for his kind of a gimmick, to be in an NXT first. Let the WWE universe, so to speak, get familiar with him in that regard. That's just my opinion there, but I'm again very happy for Dalton. My guy Brad Peterson, he writes in, "Are we going to get broken Matt Hardy, or was he just making faces and checking his jaw after the match?" And then he also says Joe and Lesnar rematch. Broken Matt Hardy. I think it could be upon us. Yes, sir. Joe Lesnar rematch. I don't think so right now. Maybe down the line, but I don't think so right now. I think they got different plans for Lesnar at SummerSlam. Speaking of Lesnar, David Madron, he writes in, looking down the road a bit, does Brock Lesnar sign one more contract with WWE before hanging it up? That's a great question. Lesnar's contract expires, we believe, I think right after next year's WrestleMania. That's a great question. I'm really torn because on the one hand, he's making so much money. And his drawing power is there for WWE. You almost think on both sides, why wouldn't you re-sign him? And why wouldn't he want to re-sign? But then again, on the other hand, it's almost a little bit of like an Undertaker factor in the sense that Brock has built up such an aura around him, such a credibility, that when he really, really wants to pass a certain torch, he could. You know what I mean? Like, so and also you might just run out of guys you can really put him with that makes sense. You know, I always talk about there's always a shorter list of guys that are believable that you really can put Brock with, and that you can expose to put Brock with, and not think that they're going to be, you know, harmed. And I don't mean necessarily physically. I mean like their character or their credibility. So maybe this is the last run. You know, and if WWE didn't bring Brock a new contract, if they said, hey, you know, we're not interested in re-signing him anymore, wouldn't hurt Brock's feelings. I'm sure he has got more than enough money. He'd go back to his farm, and that be that. And look, and they'd still have Brock, I'm sure, on some kind of a deal. He wouldn't be active in the ring in this scenario, but he'd still be, you know, basically like a Legends deal, I'd assume. So he'd still be able to make money off of, you know, merch and video games and such of that. Eventually, I mean, he's definitely a WWE Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I mean, maybe this is it. Especially if they line it up to where whatever he does at Mania, maybe this really is it. And finally, Andrew Miller. Who would you like to see the Miz feud with next? You know, I would think it would be interesting, depending on how much longer it's going to last with Enzo and Cass. And again, I'm recording this right now at lunchtime on Monday, so forgive me if answers to this come Monday night on Raw. But at some point, I wouldn't mind seeing the Miz and Enzo Amore. I could get behind that. I could get behind the back talking going on between there and the Miz Taraj and everything like that. So I think that could be really some powerful and fun TV to pair those two guys against each other. All right, that's going to do it here for this version of the podcast. Thank you, everybody. You know, like I said, wanted to make sure we got an episode in here for you guys before I disappear for about 2 weeks. Again, make sure you hit subscribe, because this Saturday we got another episode coming out. Me and Justin Roberts, former WWE ring announcer Justin Roberts. You don't want to miss out on that chat. Hit subscribe to Wrestling Reality. It'll download automatically. Please go onto iTunes, leave a rating and a review. That's a huge help. Thanks to Ticket King. Thanks to SDC Remodeling. Thanks to Old Smoky Moonshine. They'll be presenting me on July 31st at Cambria Suites. If you can get to Pittsburgh, please join me. It'll be a good time. I am out of here. Somebody get the sun. Somebody tell the sun I am coming out. I'm going to pull George Carlin. I'm going to worship the sun, and I'm going to come back a lobster.